Hi everyone, this is John at World Development Systems. So we have a new software update for the one system being released now, the September 2024 build. So this video just quickly gives you an overview of what those improvements are. I'll only spend a couple of minutes on the new features as the detail of it is written up on the One website under the user guide area. Links are below this video. After I've shown you this, I also want to have a quick chat about installing or updating the new software. And there are some important points there, so please take a few moments to watch this. In this release then, we are adding some useful tools to help you manage the top-up devices more easily, and also ways of keeping track of your costs. So in this new release, the focus is on seeing a central list of all active top-up devices, having multiple devices per client, being able to identify a device, and then creating a report of monthly credits usage. So let's just go back and have a quick look at each of these items in turn. Just a reminder, there's more information on each of these topics in the user guide area of the One website. So the first item, seeing a central list of all devices that are actively running a schedule to transmit a program. Now, when you sign into the One program, you have this new Active Device Schedules box on the home page. This shows you all of the active top-up devices that are running under your subscription, and if appropriate, for individual clinics running within the scope of that subscription. These are displayed in ascending date order, so at the top we have the devices that are going to expire next. This is all test data, by the way. So here at the top of the list is a device that is going to expire today, as per the schedule that is set for it. This next one was cancelled, and actually we are seeing the time at which the cancellation will take place. Remember that top-ups are charged on a 24-hour basis, so the time of day that you start the schedule running will also be the time of day that it finishes, regardless of whether it is expiring or cancelling. Now these items a bit lower in green, they're not scheduled to expire immediately. On this list, we can double-click any entry and it will bring up an edit box, so we can quickly alter either the expiry date or the formula being chosen. Now this pop-up box had a dark background, whereas the main app window is light-coloured. This is due to the preferences that are set into Windows. So Windows 10 by default has a light colour scheme and Windows 11 has a dark colour scheme. If you upgrade from Windows 10 to 11, then it will keep whatever scheme was already running, so you might well have kept the light scheme without realising it. Now I have Windows 11 here, which came with the computer when I bought it, so I still have the default colour scheme, which is dark. But from conversations I've had with One users so far, the majority of you still seem to prefer light mode regardless, so I'm running the app in that mode for this video. As a side note, some of you know that I needed to have some fairly hefty surgery on both of my eyes last year, and personally I find the dark background much easier to work with, as my eyesight is a bit impaired now. But even so, I still prefer the look of dark mode on Windows anyway. If you want to try experimenting with this, just go down to Settings, and you can change what's set on One here. If you choose Default, then that will go to whatever mode Windows is set in, or you can override it with dark or light. So next on the topic list is being able to allocate multiple devices to one client, something that you weren't able to do up until now. So let's open a client here. Now I've only got one test client set up on this development subscription. Good old test data, bless her. So if we go to her profile and then we click on top-up schedule, then you'll see that there are no devices registered. So this is largely, well, this is the same as previous builds of the software. So what we do then is we add a top-up device, and then I'll just lean over and scan a card in. And that gives us the ID number of the card, and it says it's available for use. So we assign this device to test data. Now what you see, which is new, is this top-up box, which you saw in the previous little video. So what we'll do is we say that the program that we're going to set is cocaine. We'll set that for 3 weeks, and we'll save and close. So there we go. That's now added in this viewable list, which is very similar to what you see on the home page, but this is just for test data. So again, you can double click it to edit it. What you can do now, which you couldn't do before, is assign new device to client. So again, you get that waiting for scan. You add in a different device, and yes, it's happy with it. It's available for use. Assign this device. Now, poor old Tess, she's not been sleeping very well. So what we're going to do is give her a second card under body system support for sleep support, and we'll give her that for a month. Okay. So we'll save and close. And there you go. We can see that there are 2 devices running for tests. And if we go out to the home page, then this is a list of everything in the subscription or in the clinic. But as she's our only client, then there's just 2 cards. But again, it's reflected there. Okay, there you go. If you're giving more than 1 card to a client, then I suggest that you put a sticky label on the back, and then you can write each particular program on it so that the client can identify which one is which. After this is identify an unknown top-up device. This is useful when you have 1 or more cards on your desk and can't remember what the status is of any one of them. Or, for example, if somebody calls in and tells you that they found this in the street, so one of your clients might have dropped it. Incidentally, with that in mind, you might want to consider getting some printed labels made up anyway with your clinic contact details on, and then putting it on the back of the card. And if you're going to do that, then I suggest you leave a blank area on that label so that you have space to write a note if you need to. So just to clarify again what you're seeing here, this is a development subscription that I've set up just for this video. So there's no other clients set up apart from Tess. There's no other active devices running or anything like that apart from the ones we've just created. So what we've got now here is the 2 devices showing in the table. What I'm going to show you how to do is to identify a device. You don't know what it is. So if you've got a card in front of you, it's not labelled up or anything like that, then what you do is you move to this devices menu item, and there's identify client device. So you click on that, and again, it'll ask for you to scan the device. You can also enter it manually if you want, but we'll scan it. So there we go, we've done that. And you can now see in this lower section that test data is the assigned client, that it's the sleep support program, and the expiry date is the 27th of September. So if you edit schedule, then that gives you a variation on the edit box. So what we can do is we can say edit the schedule until, say, the 10th of October. Yeah. So save and close. And then if we go back to home, then you can see that the sleep support is now October 10th. And then finally on the list, you can now generate a monthly report of how you have spent your usage credits this month to see which clients cost what amount of money. So for this bit, I'm using a different development account. I've got several, as you can imagine. Now for this one, I've got more test data in it. So again, all the names you see here are fictional. The reason that I've chosen this one is so that I can get a comprehensive credit usage report with lots of test data in. So notice here is the administration menu, which is new, and underneath that is this credit usage report as a new item. There'll be more things coming under the administration menu as time goes on, but for now there's just this one entry. So press the button and this takes you to the screen where you can specify what you want in the credit usage report. Now the very first time you run this, you need to tell it where you want the reports to go. So click on here where it says set save path, and then you need to find somewhere on your hard disk where you want the reports to go. So documents is a good place, and maybe create a new folder called One Credit Reports. So we'll enter that. We're not actually in that folder yet, so you need to double click it, and then as you can see up here, we're now in that folder. So you can select folder, and then PDF file will be saved to One Credit Reports. So to actually create the report, now this is a monthly report. You can't run it for the current month that we're in now. I'm recording this right at the end of August, So the latest that I can do is for July, because that's the last complete month. So you can specify the date, but if you do this month's date, then you'll get an error message saying you can't do that. So select the month and the year that you want, and then click this little tick box here to confirm your choice. Now these two tick boxes here, they specify what data goes into the report. You have session data, which is for the connected sessions. So you might run 60 minutes for the fentanyl program, for example, or whatever. Daily scheduled is for the top-up devices, per day, per client. So you really do get a comprehensive list. If you've got lots of people having daily treatments or daily sessions on their device, then obviously the report will be longer. Now, as I say, this is test data, so this is all local to my computer. Normally, when you run on run query, this has to go off to our one server in the cloud and process all the data on our databases. So depending on the number of events to go into the report that have happened during the month in question, it may take 20 seconds, 1 minute, 2 minutes. It's all down to how much data there is to process. But in this case, this is on my hard disk, so it's going to run almost instantly. So if you run query, you'll get this message retrieving data, and then we have a screen list of all the data in date order. So first of the month, second of the month, and all that. So what we've got here is Amy Oliver, the first one there. Trauma and PTSD was a one-day top-up. So it shows the credits used and the value of the credits that were spent on that that daily transmission to the card. And then further down here, we've got Lucy Odom, who had the crack program for 60 minutes and therefore used 12 credits. What you can do then is save all that to a PDF, to the location that you specified in the save path. That gets written down to a file. So click the button, write to PDF, and then if you've got a PDF reader program installed on your computer, like Adobe Reader, then that will automatically load the report from the PDF file. So now you have a permanent copy, which you can print if you want to. Now on this report, there's already 17 pages. So reminder that this is just test data. The items here in red are for the connected sessions, and the item in green are the top-up cards that were transmitted to for one day. So we've got Christine Carter, the fictional staff member, this client, and 2 credits, £1.50. In a later version of this, we will enable you to specify either just which staff member or which client you want to report on, so you'll have greater breakdown of the data as you want it. But for now, this is the report, so you now have your monthly costings for your clinic. So they are the main new features. There's a lot of code improvements, both in the app and in the cloud server that feeds all of this, but of course you don't really get to see that. But trust me, a lot of work has gone in to refine and improve the service. Microsoft do keep changing things, which I have to try and keep up with, which is actually why I changed the login page. There was actually a technical reason for doing that. Now, there is one thing about the September update that frustrates me greatly, and I apologise for, is that this time around you have to uninstall the current version of the one software that you have on your PC, and then you have to download it and install it as new. There's no way around this. A technical problem occurred that I had no control of, to do with a security certificate that is installed into the app. Now, without this certificate, Windows complains like crazy, saying this app is not trusted and it comes from an unverified source and so on. So this certificate guarantees that the program comes from World Development Systems. Now, the problem was that the company that we used to get our certificate from, called GoDaddy, stopped selling this item and didn't tell me. So I didn't find out about it until after the cut-off date. So we had to go to a different vendor, and that means filling an application and supplying company registration documents and all that palaver. As a result, you can't upgrade the previous installation because it complains that this is not the same program, because the security certificate is different. So if you're not sure how to uninstall a Windows program, the one program specifically, then I've created a separate video about this with the link below. Quite recently, I've also created a new video on how to download and install the One program, which is fortunate. The link for that is also down below. Since I made that video, Microsoft introduced that new doodad which pins a shortcut to the app onto the taskbar. That was so useful that I added it to the new build, but it means that part of the video is already out of date. I only did it recently. So at some point I will re-edit that part of the video. Never-ending evolution. So there we go. Final comments then. We're really starting to get good feedback from practitioners about the efficacy of the programs, although we do now need to put more effort into getting some solid testimonials. If anybody out there can help us with that, please get in touch. Lately, we've been hearing good reports of improvements in clients with, specifically, crack and fentanyl, alcohol, PTSD problems, and also with gambling behavioural addiction. An interesting side note to the trauma program is that it doesn't just work on psychological issues, which is what you think of it, but it also seems to do with trauma associated with damage to the body, where the trauma from an accident or surgery is still causing pain. There is one case that sticks in my mind where a person had a hip replacement several years ago and since then had persistent eczema and pain around that site, and yet within a few days of running the trauma program noticed that the years-long presence of eczema had reduced it by about 50%. So maybe one day the system will be useful in post-op recovery, who knows. So Victor is experimenting with new programs all the while and is discussing what it is that we have built with lots of people who are asking whether we can add their pet areas of interest to the program. The One System is a good, solid base for delivering energetic programs, so in practical terms it can be extended in many different ways yet. I had an idea the other day, just a thought at this stage, but certainly doable, of a practitioner, and I have got somebody in mind when I say this, who is looking to become a reseller of the One System, maybe having a stack of one top-up cards which runs a specific program for maybe 2 weeks or whatever, maybe the sleep support program, and hands these out at one of these mind, body, spirit shows. Now that could be a bit of an outlay, but we might be willing to help out in those cases. Just contact us with your proposal. Victor did that at a conference in Denmark a few years ago. Everybody in the audience had a card. I've still got one actually. And then during his talk, he sent me a text message, because this was 2008, something like that. He sent me a text message to start transmitting. Now this was years before the One System was written, but those people who are sensitive to these kinds of energies, because in the audience they're all practitioners, they could feel the energy of the program coming through. And of course the fact that there was a distance between Malvern in England, where it was being transmitted from, and Copenhagen, where Victor was giving his demonstration, was another point of proof. On another matter, we've just posted a video testimonial of the sleep support program. We've been hearing good results of that in the past. People who have had serious insomnia issues finally being able to get some sleep when exposed to the program. So we'll do more to push awareness of that. Considering that the system is really designed for addictions and trauma, I must say I'm pleasantly surprised, I suppose, speaking for myself, that there's been greater usage of body system support than just the addiction and trauma. So this gives areas of support to, the heart, the kidneys and so on. We've also recently added a youthfulness program for all users, which several people that I can think of are absolute fans of. That's all to do with rejuvenating the body generally from an energetic viewpoint, as are all our programs, but which should influence the physical side of health too. On the esoteric or spiritual side, if you're into that kind of thing, then we've also added a program called Planetary Wave, which Victor has very recently updated and improved upon. This program helps your body to stabilize and integrate all of the very powerful light-encoded energies that are hitting planet Earth right now. And honestly, you'll either know what I'm talking about there or you won't, but it's an area of expertise within WDS. Now, we also sell that program anyway on a dedicated pendant or a card, which is the same format as a top-up card, which at the moment you can buy from the Ascension Support Tools website. See link below, note to self. Once we finish getting this build out, then we need to focus on the main WDS company website, which has been neglected for way too long. We've just got such big projects on the go here as an R&D company. However, we can clearly see now that the One System is really going to grow our business hugely. So we need to have a modern storefront website to go with that. And then, of course, there will be many new features coming to the One System. I think, to be honest, we'll be actively developing that for another 3 or 4 years yet. Any new programs that Victor supplies are independent of getting the new software build out. They just appear in your program lists in the software. So that's it for this video. I hope you found it useful. Please do let us know if there's anything specifically that you would like to see added, either in terms of specific programs or just in terms of features added to the software. The next area of focus in the software will be to add functionality to manage the lists of clients and for you to manage sign-ins for other members of your team. You may just be a sole practitioner, but the system is very much written to support team environments, although some of the tools to really make that work are still to be added. Although, if you need anything specifically doing of that nature, e.g. adding new staff, then please just email me at tech-support@wds-global.com. And there is also a Contact Us page on Main One website, which will also get to us. If you need to contact us at WDS for any other matters, please send an email to info@wds-global.com and either Sharon or Victor will respond to you. Or again, there's the Contact Us page on the One website. So that's it. Thank you for watching and bye for now.